All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Nick and Izzy Show, a Thursday night rendition. Thanks, family, for joining us. We're back after Thanksgiving week. Izzy, how are you?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you tonight?
I'm hanging in there. Well, after I discussed a story with you about, unfortunately, the business we're in, and an unfortunate story, which we'll get to in a minute. But let's preface something again that you and I are working really hard on, because for the couple of weeks ago we were really working on an episode. I see someone already commented that they're here in the room already.
Hey, Danny Lewis. How are you tonight, brother? Hope you're having yourself an amazing evening.
So you and I are working really hard on staying away from the COVID numbers and staying away from the positive test results. Because, Izzy, you and I know the numbers are up. We know that. So
Right.
we're going to stay away from that. We know the numbers are up. Unfortunately, New York had another spike over the last couple of days, but we're going to stay away from that. And we're going to stay a little more positive on the stories. Unfortunately, this first one, not so positive. And I sent this to Izzy because I thought it was interesting because it has to do with our business. You and I being at the radio business, working for WABC, 77 WABC here in New York. And Radio Disney, which is for a lot of kids when we were younger, was when that really first came to be. It was a big format for kids and a lot of pop singers and how a lot of stars were made. And now it's being reported that Radio Disney and Radio Disney Country will cease operations in the first quarter of next year.
And, it's so crazy, too, brother, because, radio is one of those industries to where, like, you and I, we love it so much. We love running the soundboards. We love talking on the microphone a lot. But it's really a wild business. I mean, it's, like, so unpredictable as well, too. And, I mean, I personally would have never thought, man, that Radio Disney would be going down like that. But also, too, I do remember, I would say about 5 to 6 months ago, just because of everything that's going on right now, that they actually laid off, I believe it was 37,000 people, or if not laid off, they furloughed 37,000 people, Disney did. And I think it's really because of just, I guess, with the amount of revenue and money that they may not have coming in right now to support the whole company, because ever since all of it started with everything, Disney World's been closed, or they were closed for a short period of time.
They're temporarily opening again, but it's in very small numbers. You have to wear masks like you do for any event or place that you're going to at this point. And just try to be as careful as possible, because it's a little dangerous out there now. As we said, the numbers in New York, I don't know about New Jersey, Izzy, you would know that better than I would, but New York's numbers are approaching close to 5%. So just be careful. Do everything you need to do. Mask up, as Izzy and I have said in the past. And you and I feel terrible about this, because this is our business here.
It is, right. It's yeah, I mean, I first I got to say this, everybody that works at Radio Disney, I just want to let you know that good things are going to happen to you in the future. I know that, I personally have never been, let go before in this industry before, but I have some friends actually that have went through some challenges like that. And it's one of those things to where just don't give up, though, because this is one industry, though, radio, to where if you happen to have a situation to where, like, you do get laid off, it's a business to where it's not the end if you do get laid off, because it just happens so often to so many different people, to where, like, going to find another job in the business is really easy compared to, like, some other industries, to where if you've been, like, laid off maybe multiple times, it may be a little bit more challenging to get a job, like, in your field, though. But at the same time, it also depends too, though, because a lot of companies nowadays, what I noticed, are starting to take people who have, been laid off, or who have been, maybe they just had to resign or something like that in that nature, though. But you guys are going to be okay, though.
But you know what's really effed up is the way that these people found out. Now, I'll give you the number, Izzy, because I know the official number on this story. If you want to understand the radio business, by the way, Insider Radio gmail.com. It's a really good site. You want to find out about the insides of the radio business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a public website. It's not a private site. So people are going to say to us, well, you're in the radio business. No, it's a public website. So if you want to see what's going on in any part of the radio industry, whether it's news, sports, executives, anything, they're not sponsoring us. I just think it's a really good website. Let me make that clear right now. So people, you're getting paid to say that. No, not getting paid to say that. Okay, just want to make that clear. But so listen to this number, though, Izzy. The network had 36 full and part-time employees that are being let go in the first quarter of 2021. 36 employees are going to be without work. And you know what's even worse? They found out this morning on a conference call.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes too, though, brothers and sisters, in this industry. Especially the entertainment business, because it's like something to where sometimes, you might find out on a conference call. You might also find out through maybe an email or through a text sometimes. And I mean, that takes somebody into like a culture shock kind of, because a lot of people, their first instinct when they find out that their job is actually, maybe filed for Chapter 11, or their job is just going away, or there's a major change in that nature. What a lot of people do first is they start panicking about what they're going to do, because, that is your job and that is your income. And it's a scary time. I mean, I think going into 2021, Nick, how we've been talking a lot recently about sending positive vibes out. It's going to be interesting to see how the job market really kind of shifts going into next year, especially with everything going on right now. And I can just let you guys know too, though, that, if you happen to be someone watching right now and your job had to lay some people off, though, just because they were having issues and stuff, I want to let you know it's going to get better for you. Definitely.
By the way, put that email up, because I'm going to throw out a question right now. So if you, unfortunately, in this time have lost your job due to the pandemic, you see the email right below, Nick and Izzy show at gmail.com. We want to hear from people that have unfortunately lost their jobs, and we want to hear what you're going through. We might do a whole episode on how the pandemic has affected jobs, not just in our industry, but in other industries, how we've seen it all over the place. So Nick and Izzy show at gmail.com. Email us with your stories about how you lost your job, whether it was pandemic related, whether it was, however, we want to hear the stories from you as well. So,
right.
It kind of leads into my next story, because this story has to do with Disney as well. So Izzy knows this. I don't know if the rest of the audience knows. I'm a huge sports fan. Yeah.
Yes, he is, brothers and sisters. I am too. I mean, I don't follow it, I don't think, as much as you do, Nick, but but I am a huge sports person, though. I do like that. I'm a huge fan of my New York Jets, but that's probably for another story, because that has been
You and I are sad, terrible Jets fans together.
Yes, we are. Oh, that's right. You're a Jets fan too. Oh my gosh, almost forgot about that. I thought I was the only one that was going through this craziness.
No. What are they, like 0-12 now, or 0-11 at this point? I kind of stopped watching them because it was kind of getting sad and pathetic, and they're kind of playing for the number 1 overall pick at this point. So
yeah, pretty much.
They're tanking for Trevor Lawrence at this point, who's the number 1 overall projected pick in the NFL draft at this point. But back to the story so we just talked about Radio Disney. Now let's talk about ESPN. So ESPN, another division of Disney, part of that 32,000 employees that were let go over the past couple years, months, days. Well, big personality that I like to listen to, and Izzy, you know this because you can kind of see why I would like this guy. There's a guy named Dan Le Batard, who I told you about, who I really like, and I listen to his show every day. They did simulcasts of his show on television, and I wake up today and I find out that from a guy who I respect, and I've had the chance to talk to actually, Andrew Marchand, who writes for the New York Post. I had him on my other show, Empty the Bench, which is the sports show I do on Facebook Live. So I find out today that Dan Le Batard is leaving ESPN on January 4th. And I was talking to Izzy about this because I thought this was interesting, because there's a lot of financial problems going on at Disney, like you and I have said. And Levitard's show, Dan Levitard's show is Stu Gatz. That's his co-host, John Wiener. And basically, it's not your typical stick to sports. You know that whole BS that came out where people who talk politics on a sports channel or stick to sports. I want to hear tough guys' sports opinions.
Right.
Well, their show was not your typical sports talk show. If you're the tough guy, tough girl who wants to hear sports for 3 hours straight, this wasn't the show. They talked sports, but they made it fun. It was almost like connecting sports with America's Funniest Home Videos.
Right.
Where they didn't take themselves all so seriously. They knew how to joke. Like you and I, we try to joke around and have fun. We're not serious. And that's what they did. Sometimes in their 3-hour show, which used to be a 3-hour show, sometimes they wouldn't even talk about sports, and they were on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, they would talk about like totally different things. And, I think that's what really makes a show great. Like, I mean, if you're working at like a channel like ESPN or like CNN, I'm sure like the company or the network's going to want you to keep on top of, whatever the topic is that the channel kind of disputes out and dispenses to people, but at the same time too, definitely have fun. I think what makes a great show as well too is just talking about your life and cool experiences that you went through. People can really relate to that, right?
All right, and that's what they were doing. They pulled in huge numbers. Now, you and I could spend a whole episode on how digital and podcasting is taking over the radio space. You and I know that already. That's why we're doing this show. We're trying to build a digital platform. And by the way, I appreciate everybody who's been following and liking our channel. We're approaching 700 likes and 700 follows. We're going to get there soon. And
yes, we are. Thank you so much, too, family. We love you.
So it's incredible. They've had 90 million podcast downloads. I didn't stutter when I said that, Izzy. 90 million downloads.
That's amazing.
So their digital footprint was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Now, I'm not being biased, even though I'm a fan of the show. I follow the digital space. I'm a nerd for numbers when it comes to the radio business. That's why you and I are in the radio business, because we like to find out each and every nook and cranny there is that you and I can get better at so we can bring it over to here.
Mm-hmm.
So I find out. So timeline to kind of go back. They were a 3-hour show on 330 radio affiliates. They were national and international and on TV as well as a simulcast. Now, ESPN decided to put all their TV simulcasts behind a paywall for ESPN Plus. So now you can't see any of the show anymore, which was really their visual element really brought a lot to their show. So that was gone. Now they went from 3 hours to 2 hours because it was stick to sports, which that's not what the show was. And unfortunately, I think I told Izzy this, and I'll tell everybody else who's a sports fan, that I think management purposely was agitating the show so that eventually Dan Levitard would walk away from the company. It's messed up. It's unfortunate. It's the way our business is. And you just got to keep your nose to the grindstone and work as hard as you possibly can. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree with you, brother. I mean, it's one of those things, too, in this industry to where I would say majority of the time when there's major changes like that, it has to do with money. Even though, like, sometimes it may not seem like it has to do with that, though. But I would say if it's not the money, it might have something to do maybe with how somebody feels about somebody. But most of the time, though, for the entertainment business, it does come down to the ratings and it comes down to the money. Because let me tell you, you could be like the most entertaining person in the entire world. But one thing that's so crazy about this industry, though, is that like if the ratings are not really like how the network really wants it, or if it's not bringing in the money, that's where like an issue could come. But the other thing about it, too, is that if one network doesn't really see you in, I guess you could say, kind of like a way that's going to make them money or they can benefit from, I'm pretty sure another network's going to see you and be like, oh my gosh, like we can benefit from them and we can make money from them and let's give them a chance and take them on. Like there's always another network, or there's always like as I like to say usually, if plan A doesn't work, there's always plan B, C, D, and E. And I feel like that's how it is in this business.
Well,
If somebody like that happens to get,
that's the same part about this whole thing, because I told you, excuse me, that they had 90 million. That's an incredible number to me. 90 million downloads in the digital podcasting realm. That's like unheard of in this business. So, excuse me, as I'm choking up over the numbers. But it's incredible. Someone will pick them up. They will go to, and that's what's so crazy about this. You don't need to be on a radio network anymore to make your money in this business. You could go to Spotify, which is really opening up their podcasting space. We just saw it in 2 major deals. Bill Simmons, who used to work for ESPN, is now over. He created his own company in The Ringer, and it's now on Spotify. They paid like $100 million to take the network over to Spotify.
Right.
Also, you might know this name, Joe Rogan. Does that ring a bell to you?
Oh, yeah, I know Joe Rogan. Yep.
So Joe Rogan started out as a comedian. He does some of the UFC fights as an on-side commentator. I see another comment there, Izzy. You got that there?
Oh, I do, yes. Oh, it's one of my brothers, Will. How you feeling tonight, brother? Thanks for watching. I appreciate you.
So Joe Rogan went from being a comedian, working UFC post-fight. He started a podcast, and now he built up. He was on YouTube. He was really doing well with his numbers. He signed a deal with Spotify in exclusivity, and now he's making $100 million on a Spotify podcasting deal. So just because the radio business, there's a lot still to be desired, but podcasting is where the business is going. I worked with John Batchelor, who you and I know well. His podcasting numbers are through the roof. He does really well on the podcasting end. He does between 5.5 and 6 million downloads a month. It's incredible numbers. It's unbelievable. That's where the numbers are. Older people are still going to listen on the radio, the terrestrial radio, the AM dial, but now more people are going to the podcasting space. Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts. You can go anywhere. And it's all free. You download it and you find it, and that's where
too, brother. It's so big because nowadays we're living in like this world of just technology. I mean, you see people now driving in their cars, and I see them even though a lot of people really, I don't think should text to drive, but I see a lot of people now that they change their music on their phone while they're driving. I also think that, it's a lot of people, if they go out and exercise now, if you go to the gym, a lot of people have their music hooked up to their phone. So they can actually listen to someone's podcast while they're on the treadmill, just doing their thing, losing their weight or getting muscle or whatever they're doing.
That's what they do. They're not listening to music anymore. They're listening to podcasts. That's the biggest grower in the business right now. Depending on what you listen to sports, you can find any show after the fact. What a lot of people will do is they'll wait for their favorite show to be over, and then they'll listen to the podcast afterwards because it's quicker and you don't have to listen to commercials as much. You might get 30 seconds a minute commercial every so often, but that's better than having to listen to a whole 3-hour radio show and wait for the commercials in between.
Yeah. And it's so funny too, though, because, terrestrial radio, and a lot of people actually have asked me this too. They're just like, Izzy, how come there's so many commercials? That's pretty much the money. But that's how terrestrial radio stations make their money, though, from commercials.
I'll give you the simple answer, okay? And you already know this, but I'll give this to the audience who's curious why they hear a ridiculous amount of commercials between segments. Well, that's how the bills are paid in the radio business. If we didn't have commercials, you and I wouldn't get paid to work at the radio station. The talent wouldn't get paid. And a lot of the bills, electricity wouldn't be paid. Just think of it that way. If you didn't have the commercials, you wouldn't get the shows that you like to listen to. That's not just on WABC itself where we are. Think about ESPN radio. Think about I don't know, locally here in New York, Z100, if you're listening to a music station, or what's the one you listen to, Hot 97, or any station around the country, if they didn't have commercials, they wouldn't survive.
Yeah, and yeah, that pretty much is what makes the money. Now, I think on the internet, it's a little bit different in a way, kind of, because especially on YouTube, you can actually run ads on people's channels to where they can visually see something, which also on top of that, you have like sponsorship packages that you might have a company that might send you like their product and then you talk about it like on your channel.
Yeah,
A lot
YouTube.
of people do that as well too, especially like in this digital age of like, YouTube. And I think, yeah, I mean, I think the internet is definitely the way to go. Like, if you want to do something in the entertainment industry, because the way that technology is moving nowadays, I mean, like they were even talking about having robots clean up stores. And I mean, I've seen that.
Man, I remember that. That's so crazy. Like, people are going to be out of the jobs because robots are going to be taking over their position. By the way, just to go back to what you just said about how, like, especially YouTube channels have endorsers, the way it works. If you and I could get a sponsor for the show, that just means we can bring you bigger and better content material. That's how shows work. Like right now, because we don't have sponsors, you and I are paying to have the show advertised on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm taking everybody a little bit behind the curtain a little bit here, just so people can understand. If we had sponsors, we could do more stuff. That's how this business works.
Right. It's pretty much like whoever's a board operator or whoever's like a call screener or whoever is a host of like a radio show or anything in the entertainment business. The advertisers and sponsorships and endorsements is pretty much how they make money. Now, if you're working for like a big company, like let's say like if you take the Ellen DeGeneres show, for example, Warner Brothers actually is the company that pretty much runs Ellen's show. And then she has a staff that works with her and she works with the producers. But Warner Brothers, they're a huge like entertainment business. Actually, excuse me, they are in the entertainment business, but Warner Brothers is a huge entertainment company out in California that's what they pretty much do. Like, I mean, they make money from like advertisements, and then they pretty much work with the talent though to try to market them in a way that's going to bring them more money. And Ellen is somebody who's so, huge. So that works out great for them.
One thing, and I'm glad you brought that example up. Where do you think the money that she donates at big amounts comes from?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a lot of it is, yeah.
Sponsors. You think she's just randomly pulling that money out of her pocket? No, that's sponsors. Now, she does a lot of great work. Let me back up and say she does a lot of great donating to families. But you notice when she gives the money, this is no secret. We see it when she does her show. She'll say, Hallmark wants to make a great moment, and they're willing to give you $40,000, or Home Depot, or Target, or any company. It's because they like the show. They want to get behind the show.
Right. And they know that there's an audience there as well, too, which is a huge thing for companies that want to advertise with you as well, too, because once they see that you have a little bit of a following, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a huge following. Sometimes it can be 5,000 people. It could be 500,000. It could be 5 million. But as long as you have like some kind of audience like behind you, though,
it could be a couple.
Yeah, right. A lot of the sponsorships are going to start coming in because they're going to see that you have somebody that is watching you, and then when you're talking about them, they're going to be like, "Oh, AutoZone, let me go down there and see what kind of oil they got." So it usually works out really well like that. And also, too, with a lot of those shows that some people may not know is they get a lot of tax write-offs too, and a lot of tax breaks, and that's another way that they're able to take that money and they can actually give it to different people.
So the Izzy phone is already ringing.
It's actually my neighbor calling. She just woke up.
Just like, I want to make it clear, because you and I have talked about this. Like, even though we want to work really hard, we want to make a little bit of money. That's part of the reason why we want to do this. If we got a ton of sponsors, you and I don't think I'm speaking out of character here. You and I would donate money to help people if we ever got sponsors. We've talked about that many times, that we want to make a little bit of money so we can make the show grow and do. That's no secret. But at the same time, if we can build a big enough audience, we get sponsors. We would do a donation segment every once in a while and try to help people. And because you and I are in the giving mode, we want to help. So that's no secret. So, hey, if sponsors are watching this, yes, we want to help people too who are in need. So it's not just because we want to do a show.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And you know what is it's amazing too, though, and a lot of people like when they usually get started out with something like this too. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this saying before, but sometimes, you know, you do have to spend money to make money in the long
Give
run.
a little to get a little. Right.
Right. And a lot of business owners think like that as well too. Like they think like what they can do is they'll actually spend some money and then they'll be able to get it back in the future, which is what happens most of the time though, because sometimes it's more of kind of like you know you just have to do that kind of.
Hey, I see a Jalen Adams in there. Is that a comment also?
Oh yes, that's my cousin. What's going on, cuz? How you feeling?
Damn, I wish my friends would actually come on and make a comment. It's all your family and friends. Like,
it's funny. Actually, William over there, he is one of my brothers I work with at the store, and then Jalen is my cousin actually, and then Danny is, I think, just a fan of ours. Yeah.
yeah, he's been watching us. So it's nice to have people that don't know us that are actually watching us as well.
Oh yeah, definitely though, brother, definitely. But yeah, no, I think it's one of those things to where you know I always say too, especially like nowadays. Like I mean, I know kids right now that I mean they're like on YouTube and they're like on different platforms doing their own thing. I mean, even TikTok. Like there's a girl that I know that she is like a huge TikTok star, and I mean this girl makes like $2 million a year.
TikTokers.
Yeah, that's what they call them. They seriously do. The TikTokers are like what they call them. It's crazy because, I mean, same with that too. I mean, any kind of platform you get on, you know, just as long as you're like doing your thing out there. A lot of people do say too that it's good if you are doing something on the web though, to, you know, just do your best to bring your best personality out. And some people say that it's good to have a niche, which I personally feel, in my opinion, that, you know, it's good to, I believe, have both of those. But also at the same time, too, another thing is that there's a lot of people on YouTube that because they have such a great personality, it just attracts people to them and they don't even have a niche and they have a huge following. And also it's the opposite way too, where some people have a niche and then people are attracted to that niche and they want to see what they're doing more.
It makes me laugh sometimes. Some people who have followings on TikTok and on YouTube, and like they're doing some of the most random shit I've ever seen on YouTube and TikTok. And I'm like, it reminds me of like when the cat videos went viral for the first time and people were getting millions upon millions of followers. I'm like, wait a minute, it's random cat videos. Like, who wants to see that? And then like I blew it off, and then all of a sudden, excuse me, that I see like millions upon millions of people watching these cat videos, and I'm like, well, my ass was just sat down on the curb after finding that out. Like, whoa, like, and I'm like, some people have some of the weirdest like channels that they make. Izzy, I think you told me, what was the name of the guy that you told me about the makeup channel?
Oh, Jeffree Star?
Is that the guy?
Yeah, Jeffree Star. Yeah, he does makeup for a living.
It's incredible to me the amount of fans and followers that he has.
Yeah, brother. And you know, it's just I feel like it's one of those things to where it's just so different for like everybody. I mean, you know, there's some people on YouTube right now. Like there's a sister I follow and her name is Kelly Stamps. And
yeah, you were telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly Stamps is a sister who she just is being herself. Like she just shows her personality. She just talks about like different things that happen in life. And she's just an everyday vlogger, and people love her for her personality and like I guess like what she talks about, just you know living everyday life. And also too, you have you know people like Jeffree Star to where this brother has a niche. Like his niche is makeup, and he talks about like just what to do with makeup this way and how to put it on your face.
It's crazy.
It's cool because yeah, and because a lot of people see that and they're just like, oh, okay, so that's how you do it. And also too, because let me tell you what he did. What's amazing though, what Jeffree Star pretty much did, and a lot of people don't know this actually, but well, maybe most people do know that watch his channel, but he had $500 to his name when he was in his mid-20s, and he was in the music industry. And it's a crazy situation because he took that $500 that he had and he started his own makeup line, and he pretty much like used YouTube as a platform to display his work and display his products. And I believe like just from him doing his own makeup tutorials and showing people what to do, and also letting people know that he has this product, it really is something that just made him into this huge influencer when it comes to the makeup industry.
Influencer, yeah.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, this brother has products in Ulta Beauty. He has products in, I believe Sephora actually has some of his products. He has his own online store, and he's a multimillionaire. I mean, he's worth, I believe, like 80 million, or maybe it could be like somewhere like 50 million or somewhere in that nature, though. But he has a really big house, and he's very successful. And it just really shows you, though, family, that you can do anything you set your mind to. Because let me tell you, there's going to be some people, unfortunately, in your life, though, that they may not want to see you do that well, but then there's going to be other ones though that are going to want to see you do so good to where they're going to keep pushing you to do better. But just remember that as well too, though, because let me tell you something. One thing that success definitely comes with, though, is it's going to come with great people who are going to be behind you, and it's going to come with people who are just going to see you and are going to try to tear your success down.
Oh man, like they become jealous of your success. But what I was going to say, if you're watching this live now, or if you're watching this afterwards, comment below and tell us what your favorite YouTube channel is and why you like that YouTube channel. Like you like Jeffree Star. There's a channel, some of the channels, and I've discussed this with you, Izzy. I like a channel called Bria and Chrissy or Alyssa and Sam. I like some of those channels because they really take their time to show their personality, show what's going on in everyday life.
Right.
I'm trying to think, what's the best way to describe the channels without it sounding wrong? Can you help me here?
Oh gosh, how to describe Brie and Chrissy?
Like, because I don't want to sound like politically incorrect when I say what the channels are.
Oh no, you're completely fine. No, so Brie and Chrissy, and what was the other one you said? Alyssa, and who else was it?
Alyssa and Sam. It's the same channel as Brie and Chrissy. It's very similar.
Oh, okay, right. So Alyssa and Sam, and then Brie and Chrissy. They are both of those channels are a channel where they're two girls that they're both friends, or they're in a relationship with each other. So they're two channels that are they're two lesbian couples that they display and they talk about their life on each channel. And it's really cool because I think like what's amazing about a situation like that with these two different lesbian couples is it's a topic, especially when you start talking about like the LGBTQ community, to where a lot of people are out of the closet right now. And there's also a lot of people who are actually struggling within themselves to come out to, terms that if they happen to be LGBTQ. And I think like when people see a situation like Brie and Chrissy, if you happen to be somebody who happens to be a lesbian, or you happen to be gay or bisexual or whatever you identify yourself as, or if you just identify yourself as yourself, which is awesome as well too. It's a situation to where it really helps a lot of people who are struggling like in that kind of situation, coming out of the closet though, and seeing two women that are together or two guys that are together. It really helps that person that's watching that really wants that, or really, is struggling with that kind of mindset, or to live their life in that, or to live their life in that lifestyle.
So I typed it into our comments box. So if you pop that up, that's the question I just put down there. Comment below with your favorite YouTube channels and why you like that specific channel. So when you're looking back on this video in the replay, and you see that question pop up, let us know what your favorite channel is, and maybe we'll have a discussion about YouTube channels, because Izzy and I are working on our own YouTube channel to get these episodes. Yes. We have our episodes archived on the Nick and Izzy Show YouTube channel, and you can check us out there as well. But it's incredible. Like, I just want to respond to what you said, because I think it's really cool. Like, I can't take my eyes off the videos that those two channels do for whatever reason. Like, there's one more channel we're actually leaving out that you and I have been talking about a lot lately, and that we really want to try to get him on our show because we just find him fascinating with his videos. You know who I'm talking about here.
Oh yeah, Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson.
Mr. Beast has some of the coolest videos, and excuse me, we'll link into the video maybe on our YouTube channel. We'll link into the his channel because he has like 60 million subscribers on YouTube. It's incredible to me.
I think 42.5 million. I think, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm overselling, but he's worth every subscriber. Excuse me, that he's worth every subscriber. If you saw some of the videos, and by the way, he is one of the most generous YouTubers I've ever seen in my life. Would you agree?
He is, yeah. No, he's a great guy. I mean, Mr. Beast actually opened up I think a free bank it was that had
so cool. What happened? That was the coolest thing ever, by the way.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. But I mean, Mr. Beast is another one, brother. He started out like just uploading videos, and he just knew he wanted to do this for a living, being on YouTube. And the brother just kept going and going and not giving up. And now he's just somebody who a lot of people love.
But what people don't realize, like, even though he's pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on his YouTube channel, but he's giving it all away. He's an incredible human being to me that he's giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars to people who need. There's some great videos if you go on his YouTube channel. Like he puts a tape circle on the floor and he says, whatever you can fit in the circle, I'll pay for. Those are some of the coolest videos that he's willing to pay for families in need. And he's done some soup kitchen channels where he bought out the whole supermarket, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So he's a cool guy, and we want to emulate that partially. If we could get to a position where we can have sponsors and we could get more subscribers, we want to give back to people in need because that's how you and I are. We want to help people.
Right. We do.
So I think, Izzy, we went over what we were going to do here time-wise, but you and I, we're in the radio business. I guess that proves that we don't shut up ever, does it?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, totally, though, man.
But, yeah, so we have some plans in the next couple of weeks, Nick and Izzy family here, that we're going to try and get some people on from the soup kitchens for the holidays because we really want to we want to give some promotion to places that are helping people in times of need. They can't put gifts on the table for their family. They can't get food that they need for the holiday. We really want to promote these places because they deserve to be promoted because they're doing things that are in real need.
Right.
So we're going to try. You're going to try and find someone from New Jersey. I am working on somebody here in New York. And we're going to – and if you put that email up one more time, Izzy, that – Nick and Izzy show at gmail.com. If you have any connections around the country, because our show is fully national, international, for people around the state who have soup kitchens and food pantries. And we want to talk to heads of soup kitchens and food pantries, and we want to give them promotion because they're doing what a lot of people need help with.
Right. And I think it's amazing. With the holiday season right now, we're just at a time to where it's giving, baby. We're giving.
It's not all about getting on the holidays. People need to realize that the holiday spirit is all about giving, not getting.
Right. I agree totally.
And you shouldn't be worrying about how many gifts am I going to get? What am I going to get? How much did you spend on that? No, that's not what the holiday is about. The holiday is about being with family, being with the people you love, trying to just have a good time with the people you want to be around, and giving. I always think of the holidays as giving, not getting.
Right.
So we're going to work hard. We're going to try and find some people to come on here, and hopefully we can get the word out that families shouldn't go hungry on the holidays.
Yeah, I agree totally, brother.
So, all right, I think we've bugged everybody enough, you think?
I think so too.
Follow the show at Nick and Izzy Show on Twitter. Izzy's at Unstoppable Izzy. I'm at N Morganson Radio on Twitter. Follow us on our Facebook page at Nick and Izzy Show on Facebook as well. And I guess that's it. I think we should just say goodbye to the people, and we'll see them either on the weekend or next week.
Yes, we'll talk to you guys very soon. Just remember, hashtag Izzy loves you so much.
Bye.